Welcome to the At Homish podcast, creating spaces where we belong. I have to tell you, I had to get my composure together to be able to do the introduction because I think this is the first time I've had two guests in here and we are just cracking up and going at it before we even got started. So I am going to pass it off to them, let them introduce themselves, and y'all get ready because it's going to be something else today.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I am Torry Hollimon. Glad to be here finally at Homish.
Finally.
It's been a long time, man.
Oof.
Will and I have known each other now. You just spoke about it earlier while we were getting ready for the show. Was it 2015?
15 or 16, one of those years. Yeah, I think it was 16.
Wow. Back when I was 11 years old, I met Will. 2016. And we are finally here doing this, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. I'm Torry Hollimon. I'm Terry's younger brother. And there's a lot of dynamics, a lot of ways, a lot of avenues to me. And maybe we'll touch on a few of them today. But I'm just happy to be here as well. Community man, raising kids here in this lovely city of Snohomish.
Yeah.
Involved in the school district, involved in the community, involved in evolving as a grown man myself. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Will.
And you know, that's the big part about all this belonging stuff. It's about showing up. And when we show up and when we're involved, it just makes such a big difference. And reflecting back on 2016, because that's when I was working with the Tukwila School District, I remember, I got to share this story, and I know I shared it with you, but I remember walking into the building. It was a Foster High School, right? And I walk in and someone was standing there like, "Oh my God, you're here." And I'm like, "Well, I work here, so of course I'm here." And they're like, "Hey, we're just gonna have you come right this way." And I'm like, "Well, I know where the classroom is. Like, where are you taking me?" And then they take me in the classroom. They're like, "Hey," and they're like, "That's Will. He works here." "Oh, you're not Terry?" I'm like, "No, I'm not Terry."
You're not the talent.
Who's Terry? Like, what the hell? You know?
Terry.
Right. And then all of a sudden, you know, Terry comes in. I'm like, oh, like all black folks don't look alike. Come on now.
which is odd because, by the way, Foster, that was my first time going to Foster. My first time being in that environment. Yeah, I've never had a reason to go to Foster. I mean, I'm a grown man. What am I walking into a high school for, right?
Good point.
You know, and then I didn't grow up here, so I wasn't really super familiar with Foster. But I come to find out, and I don't know if you guys know this, but Foster was like the most diverse school in America, allegedly. Mm-hmm. Like more languages spoke at that school than any place in America. Mm-hmm. And so I would have figured they would have been like, "Oh, you don't look just like Terry. You might look like Abdul." But it was very fun experience, and maybe we'll touch on that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that was honestly for me my first introduction to any kind of podcasting, because I had heard about the barbershop, maybe listened to a couple episodes, but anything outside of that, you know, I just wasn't even connected to it. And so then when you and Marcus came into the school, I was like, "Oh, this is cool." Like we connected with folks here, and the fact that you were showing the kiddos how to use the technology and how to be on the mic, and it was just really impactful. So I'm grateful to have met you in that space that long ago, and to know of the work that you've been doing since then.
Yeah, it was a good experience, and actually, to tell you the truth, I'm sure we'll talk about the barbershop show and the reasons that we were there at Foster High School at the time. But when we started that, we didn't know anything about a podcast. There was no such thing. We're going to date ourselves here. We're old like dinosaurs, right? But there was literally no such thing as like we went to the radio station to pitch them a radio show. And they're like, "It sounds great, but we want to try this new thing called a podcast. Would you guys be interested?" We're like, "Oh, okay." And so we did the podcast, and it lasted for like 2 weeks until they turned it into a radio show. But then we just continued to do the podcast as well.
Yeah. Cool. And so, Torry, you're saying you work in schools and do some work with the kids?
I do. I actually work in a elementary school.
Okay.
Here in Snohomish. And that was never my life's journey or goal. However, you spoke on it earlier, and it's something that I believe in completely, wholeheartedly, is being in the moment and being where you're at. And wherever you at, show up where you're at.
Yeah.
And just be what needs to be in that moment. And in my case, I ended up turning into a single parent father, 100% custody of my children, 2018. At which time I had my children going to the ECAP program. Right here in Snohomish at Central.
Right.
And at that time, I became very, very intrigued and just all the way engulfed in early childhood education. and I was dropping my kids off at school, and me being the type of person that I am, I want to know what's going on at school. So I'm poking my head in, I'm shaking hands, meeting teachers, meeting administrators, and then just really get caught up in the whole idea of like your education process being a lifetime process.
For sure.
And me being involved with my children and starting to meet some of these teachers and administrators, I'm like, my children are only here for 3 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
I got them for another 21, right?
Right. Yes.
So how do I become the extension to what they're giving my children, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just started soaking things up. Started volunteering with the district and showing up, advocating at Olympia when they had the days where you go up and meet the senators and so on and so forth. So just really got involved and just continued on with that in terms of being involved as they moved through their educational years at the elementary level.
Mm-hmm.
And I started off being in the financial services industry.
Okay.
And said, you know what, for me to earn a living in the financial services industry, it requires me to be away from my children and for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And then you start looking at childcare for 3 children. I have twins that are 11 and a 9-year-old son.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about childcare for 3 kids, for me to be away, the cost reward, right? For paying for childcare. I said, you know what? I might as well find a way to weave myself in. So what I started to do is I started to substitute as a paraeducator.
Okay.
All right. And then went ahead and took the classes, so on and so forth. So now I work at the same school that all 3 of my children go to 24/7.
Yeah.
And so I'm pouring into my kids all day long, pouring into their peers, pouring into the community. And it works.
That's good stuff, man. Yeah, that's where I started in public education as a paraeducator. So
Is that right?
oh yeah. So that's a great
Y'all out here
journey.
doing God's work.
Ooh, right.
Yeah.
And I do want to state, because I mean, we'll take pictures and stuff too, but since we don't do video, we have 3 strong Black men here who are all about their kids and family and community and showing up. And so I hear too many times in this work that there aren't enough positive role models out there, or we aren't seeing people doing it. We out here.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
hit us up.
Yes.
You know,
Right here.
Yeah.
Right in your face. Yeah.
Might I add, 2 of you look mighty alike. If you didn't know you, that's probably why you guys get confused. That's probably why you get confused. Skin complexion, your hair looks the same, goatees look the same.
I just don't wear glasses.
You just don't wear glasses. That's all.
Got the same barber.
Yeah, we use the same comb.
And I didn't wear my purple today because I'm representing the podcast, but
Yeah.
Huskies too.
That's right.
I didn't play for them though.
Oh, did somebody you know played for them?
Somebody I know played for the Huskies.
What? Soccer? What was it?
I think it was
Tennis?
like badminton or something.
Badminton. They just had started that program.
Oh.
Little birdie.
So my understanding is you're not originally from Washington.
No,
Is that correct?
No, that is correct.
Okay.
Right. We're kind of what we would call a mud map.
I call it map mutt.
Map mud. We've been from all over the place. We actually originated, my whole family origination story starts in Arkansas.
I think I did hear that.
We're from Arkansas. Born down there, raised down there. I was actually born when my parents were in college.
Okay.
At Arkansas State. And after my dad graduated, he got an opportunity to play Canadian League football. He got drafted by the Minnesota Vikings.
Nice.
Things didn't enter fruition like they had wanted it to.
Okay.
And ultimately he ended up going to Canada, where he had a very successful 10-year career.
Nice.
A Hall of Fame career. Where he's still like my dad. Just imagine, it's my dad now. I'm old, so you just imagine how old he is. This guy still has records in the Canadian Football League.
What?
So we had a great career. So we moved to Canada. And in the process, in between that, we moved back to Arkansas.
Okay.
And then we ended up in Texas, where I did a lot of my high school there in Texas, and ultimately ended up moving here when I was a senior in high school. And we've been here ever since.
Okay.
Yeah. Everett, Washington.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Because for some reason I thought that you had like played in another state and then came to Washington to play football, but you were already here in Washington.
Yeah, I moved here. I started playing football my senior year in Texas.
Okay.
And then I started the season and was about to go to my first game. And they were like, yeah, you got to go.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Yeah,
It's a long story. It's a long story. I don't want to, belabor it, but essentially, I'll break it down really fast for y'all. So,
okay.
what happened?
We do tell stories here.
Yeah, we do we?
Yes.
Well, listen, I'm a storyteller.
Okay.
So
sit back, relax.
Yeah, take a seat. Yeah, I need a
knock him out the box.
I need a robe
Knock
and
him
a
out, Rick.
smoking pipe. No, so in the 9th grade, we were in Canada.
Okay.
And I was playing for, at the time, we didn't even have high school football at that point for 9th graders. And I was playing for a little league team.
Okay.
And we were playing for a championship. Like, we had won every single game that season by a large amount.
Okay.
And we got to the final game. And mind you, this is the real Canada. This isn't Vancouver. This is Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where it gets to minus 40 degrees outside.
Ooh.
So it was cold. And I think it was late November.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
First play of the game, I take off running. It's like 70 yards. They call it back. Penalty. Okay, we'll come back all the way. We got to run the same exact play. They do almost the same thing. I hit the frozen ground and some people landed on my arm and snapped my shoulder. Long story short, I ended up completely spending almost 3 months in a hospital.
Wow.
I had pins inserted into my shoulder. They would bleed out when I went home, and I had to go back into the hospital. I had an infection that set up in my shoulder, and I ended up having to repeat the 9th grade.
They passed him, my parents said.
Yeah. But then, I ended up having to repeat it. And so we ended up moving to Texas in the process shortly after that. And we get to a point where my team was actually picked to win the state championship in Texas my senior year.
Okay.
Based on what I did my junior year. Literally, I was like the only returning starter.
Wow.
Somebody reported it. There is a rule in Texas that says once you reach the 9th grade, you can't repeat any grades and still compete.
Oh, wow.
And so we thought, this is dumb. I'm still going to be 18 years old. I had a medical excuse.
Right.
And we fought it. We thought this is a no-brainer. So I went to all my practices, spring practice, summer drills, fall camp, got on the bus to go to my first game.
Yeah.
And they came and got me off. They said, you're ineligible.
Ineligible.
Fortunately, my dad was working in Vancouver still.
Okay.
He had started his financial services business in Vancouver, and we had done some research that summer and found out about a little place called Everett, Washington, that was not far across the border.
Yeah.
And their team, Cascade High School, had just won state championship
the year before.
Yeah. Ultimately, that's why we moved.
Okay. That's so crazy, man. And one of the things I love about having this podcast is it just really gives us an opportunity to talk and learn more about each other because, I had no idea. I know what I have a reason to.
Right.
But it's just so amazing to hear that story and to hear about, some of the different things that, organizations have on the books that limit opportunities for people, but then how we work to figure things out.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's sometimes, someone will hit an obstacle and it's like, oh, woe is me. And then they just, I'm not going to have that opportunity now. It's like, no, you figure it out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's the old saying? There's a million ways to skin a cat. Well, I know who really wants to skin a cat, but there's not always one direct way and one answer to every problem, right? There's multiple ways if you just got to explore them. So that's, ultimately, that's what we do. We,
For real.
We have to find ways and avenues to make things happen because a lot of the times we have roadblocks and we have to find our way around those roadblocks. If that's something that you really want, then there's a way to it.
Right.
May I give a shout out to foresight? To my father and my mother.
Oh, say it.
Who saw the potential of that coming down the road. Terry not being able to play his senior year of high school football where he was being recruited by all the Southern teams, Texas teams that said, you know what? If something goes wrong and we have to come up with a contingency plan, we spent the summer prior to the school year preparing for this. And now we're going to Everett with Coach Ennis, who is a well-known coach, well-loved, well-respected. And I'm going to put not only one of my children on that varsity team, but we just came from a district in Texas where there was junior high and senior high, which meant that there was 9th and 10th grade in one school, and then the senior high was 11th and 12th grade. So now both of my boys get to play together. He plays his senior year. I played my sophomore year with my big brother.
Yeah, it would have never happened in Texas, in our school district.
Yeah. Wow.
And it was like unreal. Like it was a unreal situation that would have never happened before. And it's something that's really for the history books, something that happened that year. Yeah.
That's the thing, like I said, we figure it out, man. And I'm so glad that worked out for you, you know, because when I think about just what I know of your journey, and every once in a while on social media, I see like some different highlight reels of you playing with the Huskies, and I'm like, I know that guy.
And it's in black and white, and I had a leather helmet on and all that good
Did
stuff.
they have helmets
No,
there?
yeah, you're right. True, very true.
It was real big shoulder pads.
Yeah, we did have real big shoulder pads.
Shoulder
We did
pads.
have those.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, wow. That's just, whew. I so appreciate you shouting out your parents too, because it just really speaks to the importance of the adults in our lives having that foresight, looking out for our future well-being, and then again, us being able to navigate those difficult spaces. It's not over when someone says no, or it's not over when you hit that barrier. I recall when I interviewed for the job in the school district here in Snohomish, someone asked me, how do I feel my job in equity and inclusion, how it would progress? Because I was like, well, when we talk about equity, it's about removing barriers. And I mentioned that I think some people would probably think about, well, there's a barrier. I'm going to come in with a bulldozer.
Yeah.
And I'm going to remove this barrier. And it's like, you can't do that.
Right.
It's like some barriers are actually there for a reason, you know? And so it's important to identify and be aware of what the potential barriers are that are out there, and then understand how to navigate those barriers, and then remove them as needed, but remove them in a way that makes sense, as opposed to, well, let's just blow everything up. You know?
Yeah, it's like when you see every problem as a nail, right? You got to be the hammer. And when you're talking about these barricades that you experienced, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes a bulldozer is not the answer. Sometimes you just got to go up and find that barrier, touch the walls on that barrier, and find out, is there a weak point here, or is there a point that I can finesse, or is there actually a keyhole that will work a little bit better than this bulldozer? So rather than destroy this incredible, beautiful wall that they put up here, maybe there's a way to get in this door where everybody doesn't get hit with the shrapnel. So you've obviously done an incredible job of that because you are still here.
I am still here, still climbing. Yeah.
A lot of times that barrier isn't just some object out there, right?
Oh, ooh,
A lot of times that barrier is the relationship building. And then what I've known, and I'm sure I don't want to put words in either of your mouths, but you can attest to growing up, is this level of disarming a room sometimes before you walk in the room and share all the wealth of knowledge or greatness or ideas that you have. Sometimes you have to disarm a room so that they can receive you for all that you have to bring into a room. And so sometimes, just like Terry mentioned, it's touching that wall and saying, I'm here, I'm qualified here, I'm here, I share your same goals. I'm not here to knock or disrupt or beat anything up, but I'm here to connect. And together we can navigate something.
I'm going to ask you to say more on that because, again, as I mentioned, we are 3 African-American men here, not small in stature by any means. And considering some of the spaces that we run into, what advice would you give someone when they're attempting to disarm a room and make connections when they walk in?
I'll share this with you. I shared it with my son's baseball team today. I came here from baseball practice, and I know nothing about baseball. I know a lot. But I share it with my kids all the time, especially my boys. And the reason I'll say my boys is because just males in general, and especially the males that I have, them jokers will walk into something and they'll walk right into the middle of it. And if it's going on, they're a part of what's going on. My daughter, she's different. She's on the outskirts. She's seeing what's going on. But I always share with my boys, you can go in, but pay attention because it's a whole world going on around outside of you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just walk in and you get yourself immersed, you're not paying attention to what's paying attention to you.
So true. Yeah.
Right?
Keep your head on a swivel.
Head on a swivel.
And there's nothing wrong with going and getting involved and being a part of.
Right.
Not at all. But at times, there are times where you want to be able to assess and know what you're going into and know what to bring into it. And I'm always sharing with them, don't change who you are. Don't be different,
Mm-hmm.
but learn to adapt and be what the situation calls for. But it still needs to be within your wheelhouse,
Mm-hmm.
right? Still be yourself, but know what that room calls for. Know what that situation calls for. And then attempt to be that.
Yeah.
With the mind of being solution-based, with the mind of being connected, right, to that situation.
Well, to me, I think that really speaks about cultural awareness, because I feel like in my work with social justice, equity, and inclusion, oftentimes people who identify as being from marginalized populations are like, well, you need to see me. You need to understand my culture and who I am and what I need. And I'm like, I'm not saying that we don't need to understand you, but you also need to be able to read the room.
Thank you.
When you come into a space, that cultural awareness needs to be mutual, to where it's like, hey, how do I now interact with you? How do we build that relationship? How can we have a successful partnership and share this space, as opposed to, well, I'm here now and the spotlight's on me.
That's a wonderful way of summarizing what I just said. And that's all it, because as humans, all we really want to be at core, right? Whether you fight it or embrace it, is we want to be seen.
Yeah.
We want to be recognized, validated, right? We want to belong. But there's, again, other routes to that destination. And sometimes it's, I see you, I accept you, show me. And then once we gain some common ground, then you'll be able to start seeing pieces of me and more of me, the whole of me. And now you're not beat up by my light or what you don't understand or what confuses you.
Yeah.
You're like, I like you. I dig you. Show me more. Give me more.
Yeah.
I'm curious. And there's ways of doing that. And we're not always versed with how to go ahead and do that.
But, that's one of the things where I think back to a lot of interactions I've had with people, and I'm looking at your sweatshirt again right now with Huskies, and I can't tell you how many places, if I'm wearing a hat or a jersey or a shirt, regardless of the age, regardless of the ethnicity, they see it and it's go Dogs.
Yep.
Same thing if I'm wearing something that's Army, because I thank you for your service. And it's like finding the ways that we can connect with people to build on, because we know we have differences.
100%.
I mean, again, we got mistaken for being the same person, but people may see that similarity, but we are so different in our journeys and what we're doing in life.
Yeah. And I think, that's, to me, and I think this is a skill that I gained over a lifetime. And I say it's over a lifetime, and I've always called it the blessing and the curse. And we talked about it earlier, is that we moved around a lot. We moved from very culturally different places. You're talking about moving from the deep south of Arkansas to Canada, deep Canada, right? So you can't get much more vastly different than that unless I move to Poland. Right? But
Shout out Poland.
Shout out to people in Poland, y'all listening. But through all that, moving from school to school, community to community, you end up learning to navigate the new systems and be the new guy at every place. And it's a system of trying to sometimes not just reinvent yourself, but reintroduce yourself to a whole new different crowd. And I think that as we are now in this environment, in this society where we live at, we have to embrace that. And this is something that we've learned, that sometimes you have to find the common parts.
Yes.
Because like Torry said it and you said it, we all have so much in common rather than the things that we have that make us different, right? So why don't we look for the things that are in common? And that's when I go back to, I say, the things that I learned growing up is that I learned to pick out the commonalities that I have with people when I walk into the room. And I think, again, maybe it's a skill And maybe it's something we learn, or just maybe something that we as adults need to start doing rather than going to pick it apart somebody else.
Right.
Or jumping in to talk about, hey, I'm different. You got to treat me special or because I'm different, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see the Husky sweatshirt. Go Dogs. Guess what? Now we have a common part. We can start talking, right?
Yes.
And we go from that to maybe we talk about how we've raised our kids. And then, oh, there's some commonalities there. Oh, you do this, that might be a little different. So now, and then we talk about, and again, it just starts from the common spot. And then we find out how many more things we have in common or how many more things we can learn about each other.
For sure.
How about this? Go Dogs. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
What? I know it just make you
All the
want to
time.
laugh, huh?
We do.
But hold on, but and it can turn into something that can say, well, why is it so Go Dogs for you?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it so Go Cougs for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we got a house split, divided. I got a bunch of friends. I found out that we care about the same things, but we have something to go to war again, and it's fun, right? But
And it's not
finding
contentious.
a way.
It's not contentious. You make it light. You make it fun.
For sure.
Because it's not. Because ultimately, but look
I
at
hear
the
a
wheel.
bud. I hear a bud.
You see that? Now that's just you made a man smile and laugh.
Yeah.
When in a situation where you could have been gruff, but now we have something that we can start a conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember several years ago, my daughter had got accepted to WSU. And she was like, Dad, don't be upset. I'm like, why would I be upset? Like, my baby's going to college.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and this even takes me back to another conversation that happened when I was at Foster High School. There was a kid who was there, and we were just kind of talking about college and opportunities after high school. And I mentioned that I was the first in my family to go to college. But then I mentioned that my niece went to college and that my daughter was also in college. And he's like, dang, Mr. J, you like changed the whole trajectory of your family. And I was like, oh, like, okay. So yeah, just the fact that she was accepted to a school, I'm like, all right, cool. I thought she was kind of getting a dig in because, I was like,
yeah.
But I also appreciate, I was in contact with the president from the University of Washington, Anna Maricase.
Yeah.
I had posted on social media because at the same time I was wearing like a crimson sweater.
Yeah, right. She didn't get it.
Yeah, and it had on like Eddie Bauer was what it was. It had like the gray lettering on it. So it's like, hold up, you happen to be wearing cool colors today. But the thing is, when I posted about it and I ended it with the Go Dogs, even the president from the university was like, we're just glad that people are in education. You know, we support schools. Yeah, we have the fun rivalry, but that's what it is. It's just fun,
right?
You know,
right. It's not It's not a life or death thing. It's not It's just fun, right?
Right.
You had an opportunity to go to college, and like you mentioned, you were able to change the trajectory of your family tree from your point moving forward, and to think about that in like the grand scheme, the grand scale of things, it wasn't that long ago in our history where we as Black people and one of the mainstream colleges was not an option for you to even go to.
For sure.
And then again, so you think about some of your contemporaries, like their parents went to college and their parents' parents went to college and their parents' went to college, and they probably all went to the same college or somewhere near that, where that was never your experience.
Yeah.
And now you had an opportunity to do that. And so just like it became normalized for other families to have that go on, now it is your family's norm moving forward, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we acknowledge it enough. You know what I mean? We don't give credit to it enough because it wasn't that long ago, man. The Civil Rights Act was 1964. Like 10 years before I was born.
Right.
So, you know, as much as we give ourselves a hard time for not progressing at the clip that we would like, we're making moves.
Yeah.
We're making moves. Can we make more? Absolutely. And we're in the process of doing it, but man, we're doing okay.
One thing that just hit me, so everything that Terry just said, one thing that really struck me about that story you just shared is who came up to you and made you aware of that? Your daughter being another one in the generation. Another student?
A student, yeah.
Males, female, males?
A male student who was a ninth grader at the time.
And the way I received your story was it was kind of like shock and awe and, man, pat on the back, man, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So many layers to everything.
Mm-hmm.
But that layer right there of what that spoke to that young man right there, that goes back to what I've heard from you and what I believe in. Showing up in the spaces that you are in, and you're showing up as who you are, and you show up and you never know what's going on the sidelines. Who's paying attention on the sidelines. And it's the sidelines that you infect and affect the most just by going about your journey. And you never know what that's done for that young man and whoever's going to come behind that young man or whoever his ripple falls into, right? Man, I met a man, you wouldn't believe it. This man, he looked just like me, moved, just talked just like me. And man, he put his daughter and he changed his whole, that's what you could be.
Right.
And that's the story.
Yeah. We never know sometimes who's watching us.
Oh boy, yeah.
I mean, we're sometimes so much focused on what's right next to us, right in front of us, and there's someone over there that's like, "Oh dang, did you see that?" Yeah.
For me, in that vein, it was maybe a year ago. I had a young man come up to me in a restaurant, and this was like I'm looking at him like this is a man, like he was a grown man walking up to me and said, "Hey, are you Terry Hollimon?" I'm like, Yeah, I am. I'm thinking, I don't know where he knows me from. Maybe I have no idea. Maybe he's seen me on television or something. I know he's not the age old enough to have watched me play footballs, but so I'm thinking, how do I know this young man?
Right.
He's like, hey, you spoke at my high school like 10 years ago, man. I never forgot what you said and this, that, and the third, and it was right here in Snohomish, Glacier Peak High School.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll never forget what you said that day, man. It was so good to meet you in person. And I was like, holy smokes, like you really never know who's not only just who might remember you, but whose life you might affect and change forever
so
just because of your presence and how you showed up in that moment.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, I think back, this was about 20 years ago now, because this is when I was still at Pierce College. I was president of the Honor Society.
Oh, distinguished.
Yes. and I have to toss that out there because, when I was in high school, I was one of those kids who I never got in trouble, okay? But I was one of those kids that things just kind of came easy to me. And so I was bored a lot in high school. So I was the kid, when I got in trouble at home, it was because I didn't do my homework. But I can just pass it. I can take the test and just pass it. Like, why am I got to do this,
Wasted steps.
Right. But then it was, I got a time where I wasn't really applying myself and wasn't even sure I was going to graduate high school unless I figured something out. I needed to get on the right track. I did this whole summer school thing. I think I talked about that in maybe last season at some point, so go back and listen. But anyway, so I'm president of the Honor Society, and not just for the chapter, but for the region.
Wow.
And so working with community colleges in Washington, Idaho, Montana, Alberta, Canada, and Alaska.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. So I feel like I'm doing the thing,
that's a
right?
thing right there.
Yeah. And so we hosted our winter conference out at Big Bend in Moses Lake. Okay, Big Bend Community College. And I remember I'm just doing my thing, I'm getting up there. I'm talking about leadership. Had this little rap that I did about our honor society. And I don't remember a lot of the lyrics.
I'm about to ask you to start getting that. I'll give you a beat.
I might remember some of it and do a little bit.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, we did it, and I felt good about the whole conference. And then this young white student came up to me, female student. She's like, oh my God, like, I so admire you. I so want to be you.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, well, thank you. And, it's like, hey, if there's any information you need, make sure you have my email address. We can come back out and support you with your chapter here. That's what we're here for. She's like, thank you so much. And I remember getting on the phone, I'm like, Mama, there's a white girl in Washington that wants to be me.
Oh, She was like, what, boy?
Right? Yeah, you know, because, you know, thinking about being this little black boy from Summerhill, you know, which is a little community right where the Fulton County Stadium used to be. And it's like, who would have ever envisioned that I would have someone clear across the country like, I want to be like this guy right here.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Oh, yeah.
That's huge. Mm-hmm. And I heard T.I. say something about Summerhill in the rap before. Summerhill.
I was just saying that's just an incredible story and just a real testament to who you are as a person, man, and the route that you've taken to get here.
Yeah.
And I think anytime that anybody aspires to be you, you've done something, right? You've done something.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I think, and to me, and I say this all the time, like whether I've done a podcast or I've done a television show or I've done a keynote speaking engagement, if I can connect with, obviously my goal is to connect with everyone in the room.
Yes.
But if I can connect with just one person in there and help them to change their life for the better, man, that's a win.
Yeah.
I'll take that every single day of the week. And so for you to have someone, and then again, it didn't matter who it was.
Exactly.
For them to say, I want to be like you.
Yes.
Man, that's the gold right there you're looking for.
And that's why, you know, think about it in my current role too, because there are some people, it's so crazy. And I don't really talk about work too much on here, but in my role, some people are like, oh, I've never been even up to that floor in the building.
Yeah.
Oh, you work with so-and-so? I haven't met that person. And it's like, this is what I'm like, this is what I do all day, every day.
Right.
I don't want to minimize the work that I've done and the role that I'm in, but I feel like this is just where I am and this is who I am and I'm just Will, you know? But there's some people who look at me like, you know, you doing things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, let me take a deep breath.
Yeah.
and just keep showing up, you know?
Yeah. And I think, that's part of what it is. And I've been in those shoes before. And I think it comes from a place of what we call grinding, right?
Grinding.
It's grinding, right? It's when you just put your blinders on and we're going to work. And it's because we don't know anything else. We go to work, right?
Right.
I don't know anything else other than to focus on my job, what I have, my task at hand, whether that be something menial or whether it is something grandiose. I'm not concerned about it. It's my task. And so I put the blinders on and I'm just going day to day, minute by minute. This is second by second. That's what I'm at. And it isn't until you look up and maybe somebody taps you and says, hey, man, do you see what you're doing? And you're actually like, no, I don't see what I'm doing. What do you, I mean, I'm doing my job. I'm grinding.
Right.
And then you look up and then, wait a minute, I made my way up to the top of Mount Rainier.
You're kind of cold-blooded.
Yeah, you
kind of cold-blooded, man.
Not to pat myself on the back, but tap.
Oh, tap.
Hey.
For
sure.
Yeah, straight up. That's strong. That's strong. You kind of cold-blooded. Sometimes it's all right to look up from the grind and look in the mirror and remind yourself that you kind of cold-blooded, right? Because you're doing superhero type stuff. Anytime you're on that top floor and you're where other people aspire to be or don't think they could ever be, or somebody looks up and wants to be you and looks nothing like you and has nobody in their family tree that looks like you, you're doing work. To kind of piggyback on that, I always mess this name up and I'll probably forever mess it up. I'm not good with like intricate details. I play a lot of football. I want y'all to I want y'all to check my brain out when I leave, please. In the city of Snohomish, I think it was called a racial and equity board. A group that was assembled, and this is when my kids were in the ECAP program. In some way, somehow, I got myself involved in this committee.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You're welcome. And in that committee, there were a number of administrators, different capacities, principals, just all across the board. All right, superintendent used to show up. Something like Kent Colgan, right?
Yeah.
In that group, I met a bunch of amazing people, and each one of them had a lovely time meeting and getting to know better.
Yeah.
What I found out working with several of them is there was a lot of 1 + 1 = 2 and so on and so forth. And we were kind of given the charge of how do we bring a little more racial diversity and equity to the district of Snohomish, right?
Yeah.
And I'll say this to maybe try to encapsulate what you guys all just put together is listening, doing more listening and speaking. Got to a point where it was like, do we bring more literature do we bring people in to give presentations? Yeah. And one of the things that hit me at that point in time is, and I didn't know how to execute it, but I felt like there should be more people of color that find their way into the schools.
Yeah.
Fathers, uncles, whatever it may be. Because again, a lot of times we subtly find our way into other people's worlds when it's not forced upon us, and it's not so-and-so's coming here for the speech today and we're going to hear the person of color give a speech on Martin Luther King Day or whatever the day is.
Yeah.
When we start to rub shoulders with people and we start to see that this single father of 3 young Black children loves his kids the same way that your father and mother love you. Not only that, but he will pour into you the exact same way that he pours into his children. So to carry this just one step further is I can go into the inner city where there are a bunch of people who look just like me,
right?
Who come from my culture, for whatever that means, right?
Yeah.
Culture-ish, right? Where I can go in there and I know for a fact I can help them, or I can be a positive influence and so on and so forth. But how much impact will it have for me to be right here where there are not many people whatsoever that look like me or have my culture-ish?
Yes.
For them to see me in their schools and for them to be loved on by an unapologetic Black man who will go out and make rap music, will go out, right, and take care of his family and go out in the community and so on and so forth. And at that point in time, it hit me like, that's how we start making a difference, by seeing the similarities and then having some young man or some young woman in the elementary school that, just like that young lady told you, man, Mom, Dad, Mr. Torry is pretty cool.
Right?
Have you met Mr. Torry?
Yeah.
And these parents come and hug me at school, after school, and say, my daughter has spoke so highly of you or so heavily of you. And I didn't go in with that intention.
No.
I just went in to show up where I was at. And when we show up like that, stuff like that happen.
For sure. But I want to say a little bit more about the thank you real quick. I love that you shared that story, because what some people may not know is that committee was back in like 2018, 2019. Okay. And my relationship with Snohomish started on my couch in 2020 when I'm watching the news, because I'm sitting over in Mukilteo and I'm seeing, this was, they were highlighting Bellevue at first, but then they show what looked like a small town, and there were folks with like Confederate flags and rifles just down the block from where we are right now. Yeah, and I told myself, like, I am never going to Snohomish. Like, you are not going to find me in that community if that's what's going on right there, right? And so then someone Justin Fox Bailey, we had worked together when I was on the WEA board, our teachers union. I was on the state board with him, and he was trying to recruit me to come up north for so long from Puyallup. And I'm like, we don't go up north, man.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Right? But then, of course, I see that stuff happening in the community. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. But I also wanted to get out of special education because I felt that I had gifts that more students could benefit from. And the way the policies are set up, if you are special education, you work with special education. You don't work outside of it. And so I wanted an opportunity where I could be in a leadership role directly addressing access and opportunity for all students. And so then I hear from Justin, he's like, well, we might be hiring somebody soon. So if you might want to get your name in there and apply, like, I'm not making any promises, but, check it out. And so then, of course, spoiler alert, most people know this already, I did apply. I was the first director of equity and inclusion for the Snohomish School District. And then once I got started, people are like, well, I'm glad that the district is finally doing something, and it took this for this to occur. And I'm going through the binders that's in my office. Again, I'm the first person in the role officially, and I'm seeing this committee that was formed several years before this event happened. And yes, your name was in there. So thank you, because, you're part of the reason we're actually here right now. Because the podcast came out of me doing the work with the district. And so if it had not been for that committee 7 years ago, we wouldn't be having this conversation today.
You're welcome. And you know what? Only because you said thank you, I'll give you that. But the ultimate truth is, back to the bare bones of it.
Yeah.
Showed up where I was at and did my best.
Yes. And that's what we do.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I remember, Terry, you were in the documentary too.
Oh,
yeah.
I have an interesting recollection of that time.
Mm-hmm.
Again, 2020.
2020.
Yeah, it was the year that no one can forget, right? That we'd all love to forget. Leading up to that spot, I had, built myself into a media presence in the Pacific Northwest, and in a very nice capacity. Let's just put it like that. So at the time, I was actually hosting a show. They were looking for a new host on a TV show that I've been working on since 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on there regularly hosting it from my home here in Snohomish. Remember back in the day when they had COVID going on and all the TV shows would be somebody in their coat closet doing a Zoom?
Yeah.
So that was me, like every day hosting King 5 NBC Seattle's New Day show.
Right.
So and I would let people know I'm here in Snohomish, this, that, and the third. So I became that guy from Snohomish, right?
Yeah.
So fast forward, there was a silent vigil for George Floyd held in downtown Snohomish.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm going to represent, people know who I am, Terry from Snohomish. This is happening in my town. I'm going to go represent. So I went out, beautiful. Everybody was, 6 feet of separation on the road, and with masks. But it was, it was a great, great event. I go home and I hear this thing. They say, hey, Antifa is coming to Snohomish. And I'm thinking in my head, why in the hell would Antifa come to Snohomish?
That was my thought.
Why would you get in the car and drive to Snohomish? What you want to do?
Yeah.
You want to get some antiques? What you want? What? Pie? Anyway, they got some mean pie in Snohomish. Let's go out there and get it. So I was like, I heard that. People just kept hitting me with that. And I was like, listen, I'm the guy from Snohomish. I went to George Floyd yesterday. I'm going to go see what this is all about. Because even though I don't believe this is happening, Antifa's coming,
right,
I'm going to go see with my own 2 eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I pull into downtown and Lord have mercy, I saw the same thing you saw on the news.
Good Lord, yes.
Confederate flag. I done stepped into 1950 in Montgomery, Alabama.
And you're from Arkansas, so we used to seeing that down there.
Y'all are crazy, right? But and again, I'm not trying to rehash bad stuff, Snohomish.
We're
but
not.
I'm just painting the picture for you.
We love Snohomish.
Like, we love it, right? But look, I pull into down, mind you, we had been in complete lockdown, right? Like, I had been in the house.
That part.
I pull into downtown, it looked like Mardi Gras, except for a different kind of Mardi Gras with guns. And so guns and Confederate flags.
Right.
So I was like, holy smokes, this can't be real.
Yeah.
And I literally got out of my car and walked down the street in the middle of it. Yeah. And it was like the movie when the record skips. And I think they maybe thought I was Antifa or something, but they but I did. I walked through the crowd and quickly walked back to my car and got the hell on up out of there and watched the rest on the news. So that was definitely, I think, I will say it was a turning point. One of the turning points in the history of Snohomish, for sure. I think one day we'll look back on it and say it was, for sure. It was definitely polarizing. It was dividing, but I think at a certain point it became unifying. Mm-hmm. And I think it made Snohomish stronger, ultimately.
I feel that way. And again, I say that from having not been here. So I don't know what Snohomish was before. except I do remember I was staying with a friend up near Mount Vernon, and we would take Highway 9 and we'd come through Snohomish. And, she was blonde hair, blue eyes, but she'd be like, don't stop
there.
in Snohomish.
Yeah.
Like, just keep going.
That was the stigma for years.
And so I was just like, oh, okay. And so then to see that happen in 2020, and then just to know from 2020 to where we are now, I'm like, no, I feel fine in Snohomish.
Yeah.
I enjoy coming to Snohomish. I have a podcast that's named after Snohomish.
Yes, let's go. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that one of the great things that came out of that is it started the conversations.
Yeah.
And I remember being a part of Zoom. And again, I'll tell you, the CTE brain. I think it was maybe Snohomish High School had one going at a certain point in time. But I just remember people in the community getting on Zoom calls and talking about things that they had never spoken about before. And some people getting on there and saying, this is not the Snohomish that I represent. This is not the Snohomish that I know. Whoever those people, I don't want to call any names or organizations out. Whoever they are, they need to go back where they're from. Because some of them live right down the this dialogue was going back and forth. And I think it is led to make Snohomish a better place for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I appreciate, going back to even with the documentary, highlighting that, hey, you know what? This happened, and yes, we're going to talk about it.
Yes.
We are going to put this out here and continue the conversation and lead into action as opposed to just talking about it or like, we're not going to say that anymore.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with someone just yesterday, and it was about a family member, and it was my granddad. And I remember asking my mom about my granddad, and she's like, "Oh yeah, well, we just don't talk about that." And I'm like, "Oh," and I left it at that time. But then I was watching a film. It was a while later, but it was talking about people disappearing or even known lynchings that occurred, and then the conversation was, "We don't talk about that person who disappeared because if you talk about that person, you could end up being next." And so I still haven't followed up with my mom. And so I want to, get back and have a conversation with her. Like, so when you said that.
I remember conversations with my dad that he said that happened back in the day.
Yeah.
Like down in Arkansas. Like so-and-so disappeared. We don't talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they disappeared in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Holding on to that.
Right. And that's the same thing, when we think about Emmett Till. And his uncle Mo's right to stand up in court and talk about it. It's like, okay, well, now we got to get you out of here.
You got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I think about those days and those situations and the things that those people had to endure.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it, I'm just like completely amazed and in awe of the intestinal fortitude that it took.
Sure.
To take those stands, right? Like at a time where that was the norm in the country. Like the whole world you were fighting the whole world. Like you were fighting the whole entire structures. Like the system was there, right? And again, and so again, that sometimes I'm just in awe of it. And then there are other times where I'm just completely inspired by it.
True.
And I look at some of the challenges and obstacles that I have to deal with in the same area, in the same arenas. And I feel like you being a weenie, dude. Like, right? Like you being a weenie. Like, I have so much more of a voice than they ever had. I have so much more power in every single way. Like in every single way, I have more power than they did in that situation. I have the education. I have the social ability to stand up and speak. I'm bigger than you. So, I mean, it's sometimes, and again, like I said, it just inspires me and I'm in awe and it just makes me know that I could be doing way more and I'm going to continue to keep doing more.
Keep doing you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm so glad you say that too, because I still think back to, because we're similar in age here.
Yeah, sure.
I think back to when I was in school, we would talk about the civil rights movement, which was just, a few years earlier. And folks being like, well, you better not disrespect the work that these people did folks was getting hit with fire hoses.
Oh, man.
Getting bit by dogs, getting hit by batons, folks disappearing, all types of stuff just to vote.
Yes.
Just to be able to go to school, just to be able to sit at the lunch counter.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have access to so much opportunity. And what do you mean you don't want to go to school? What do you mean you're going to talk back to your teacher? What do you mean you're going to do all these things that are negative when people fought so hard for you to have this access and this opportunity?
Yeah, it's I find that to be a little bit disrespectful in one vein and not just ignorant in another one, because it's just, and I don't mean ignorant in like the super negative connotation, like you're ignorant, so and so,
right.
but just like ignorance, like you are lack of knowledge, like you
lack an awareness.
You don't understand like the things that people actually really had to go through. So this is just talking about us as African American or Black people, right? But I'm just thinking in general, historically, a lot of us, a lot of young people these days don't take into account the steps that were taken to allow you to have some of the things you take for granted right now.
All the things.
Women's suffrage, for one. I mean, all the things that are taking place in the LGBTQ community, like all these things, people had to face insurmountable odds in order for the rights that we experience and live with today. And so to take them for granted, like for some people to say, I'm not voting. Like, are you ignorant? Like, I'm going to vote every single time. Even if I don't know whose name that is on the ballot, I'm going to vote. Like, because I have people died for that right.
People died for
so
it, for sure.
What would I look like if I didn't take advantage?
I mean, even something as simple as looking at this tree right here with the lights on it is like the ability to have the electricity and the infrastructure and everything that we have access to.
Yeah.
People fought for this. People came to this area. Now we're going to talk about the colonization and the indigenous people that were here before. Sorry.
Yeah.
But it's like...
Shout out to the people of the Salish Coast and all that good stuff.
Thank you. But everything that we have now, someone figured it out.
Yeah.
Someone fought through and they made these things happen. And it's like, we're here now. I'm thinking good, bad, or indifferent. How do we utilize this now for the benefit of everyone that is here now and will come after us?
Yeah, strong. By using your gifts, whatever your gifts are. Again, just came back from a baseball practice.
Yeah.
And on that baseball team, as I addressed them, I was sharing with them the reason why we train is because we want to build our machine. We want to train our machine to be able to operate without thinking. And we want it to be able to do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. And as you look at each one of these athletes, all right, and follow me on this, some of y'all built like power trucks. When I want to go onto the mountain and pick up big rocks and move big heavy things, I'm not bringing the Maserati.
No.
I got a couple sons out there that might be built like race cars, Lamborghinis and Maseratis. They're going to go fast for a short period of distance. So I need you to show up and be a Lamborghini and be a Maserati when it's your time, because that's why the Lord put you on the earth, is to be that and be the best one of those.
Yes.
I don't need you trying to be Mr. Power Truck, because we got power trucks on the team. Those power trucks going to go up in the mountain. They're going to bring back down bricks for us. All right? We got some Suburbans over here. We got a tournament in Chehalis over here on January 9th and 10th. I can't take my family to Chehalis in that Lamborghini.
You cannot.
Not going to work.
No.
We're going to hop in the Yukon. Right? Show up where you are with the gifts that you've been bestowed and shine. And let everybody else show up where they're supposed to show up and praise them for shining. Lift them up when they shine. And when we do that, we'll be fine.
You know, typically at this point, I get into the final two questions and ask, is there anything else you want to share with our readers? But I feel like that was like a mic drop moment right there. but I'll toss it over to Terry real quick, since we do have two guests here. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners before we get ready to sign off?
I just want to thank you for having us. For one, it was an honor to be here at Hollimon, but thank you for doing it in the first place,
Thank
right?
you.
To step out on faith and do something like this in Snohomish and just use your talents and your gifts to share these stories with the world. And I want to just leave with this, and this is where I'm at in my life and in my personal life and in my professional life, is Today, by the way, the time we're recording this is New Year's Eve. I'm dating it, y'all. I'm putting it on there. This is stamp. We're moving into a new year with that new energy, right? But I started all this before the new year, and my thing is I want to pay it forward, man. And when I mean pay it forward is I'm trying to uplift and educate and inspire the next generation of people that are going to inhabit this place that we live. And I'm talking about Earth. Mm-hmm. We start here in our backyard in Snohomish, and then we branch out from here. And I think that each of us has the ability, the capability, and the duty to do that. We need to use our voice, use our talents, use our, like my brother just got through telling you, whether you are a power truck or a Maserati, use that and show somebody else how to use that.
Love it. And I'll just kind of add a little bit to it. It is very inspiring to have the two of you here on this couch, because I think back to now, 7 years ago, you didn't know me when you walked into Foster High School, but you introduced me to the concept of podcasting. And I had no even thoughts of me doing my own podcast. I'm like, all right, I'm a behavior interventionist. I'm running around here. These kids are quiet because we got Marcus Trufant and Terry Hollimon here doing the bar. Okay, great. Oh, had no thoughts of doing a podcast. But then when time, came around where it's like, well, you should do a podcast. I'm like, oh, well, I actually know some folks that do this, and they've been doing it for a long time. And so I know where I can go back and find some motivation and some material and just kind of be like, okay, the road is paved. I don't have to create this new thing. So thank you, Terry, for that.
Man, appreciate it, brother. Yeah. Man, look at you.
And then similarly, when I think about, here I am down in Tukwila, and then in Edmonds is where I was before. And then this opportunity comes available in Snohomish, but it came out of a conversation from a race and equity committee that Torry was a part of. And so here's me now coming to Snohomish. Oh, and then even Jen J that did the documentary, What Happened on First Street. Yeah. Watch the documentary and please reach out to us. Here are all these people that worked to make this moment happen. And you two are sitting right here on the couch.
Yeah.
So you have paid it forward. You're paving the way. And again, today is made possible because of you two and the work that you've done, not even knowing anything about Trent or me. So
that's awesome, man. And nice to meet Trent, by the way. Trent is the man behind the boards making it happen. But it goes to back to what we've talked about for this entire show, is that you never know who you're influencing and how that brief interaction that you have with someone might change their life, for the good.
Yeah, so I know this will air a little bit into 26, but like you're saying, we're recording this on the last day of 25. Don't leave the lessons of 25 and further back behind. Take those lessons, carry them forward, and make 26 and forward what you need it to be.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so now we're getting to the final question. And I love that we're athletes here. This is awesome. Right. So, baseball. And I know you said you don't know about baseball, but let's say you're playing baseball. You're getting ready to walk up to the bat. What is your walk-up song? What would your walk-up song be?
I was going up to bat playing baseball.
Yeah.
Well, let me preface this with this.
Okay.
I feel like I'm a handyman on this earth. I feel like I feel like, boy, I got a tool belt where if I need to be here, I'm gonna be water over here. I'll be water over here. I feel like depending on where I walk up to, I would have a ton of different walk up songs.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I'm going up to bat, the people are out there. Yes. I want to go up there. I want to feel good. I want to represent myself well. Oh, Lord, I would go up there and I would say, I would go up to bed. All right, I just got to go back to the football stuff. I can't come up on.
Okay.
Go back. Nah, ain't no thriller about me, boy. Ain't no Mike Jack about this bad bat right here. This a lethal bat right here. So listen to me.
Okay.
I would go back to one of the two songs that I used to listen to religiously prior to football games, and that would be Tupac, Staring Through My Rear View. Staring Through My Rear View.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what it would be. And the reason why I would pick that song is because it would put me in a place where I'm ready to operate. It wouldn't have much to say about the moment or much to say about me. It's just because that song would take me to a place where I'd be ready, where I'd be dangerous and ready to deliver.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. That's the second Tupac song we've had.
Is that right?
Yeah, the other one was Ambitions as a Rider.
That's where he probably about to go for you
That's
right
mine.
now. That's where he about to
mine.
That's me. That's my side.
That's my side.
I won't deny it. I'm a straight rider.
That's it, boy. That's it. Boy, if you ready for a fight, boy, put that song on. I'm coming at you. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Mike Tyson, huh?
Oh, yeah. Let's get ready to rumble.
Oh, and see, for me, I think back to when I was in high school, and I mean, having been a DJ for a short period of time, I mean, there's like so much music that's out there for me. But, you know, when I was in high school, the song that would always get me pumped up, because it was a Public Enemy album that came out in 91. But,
yeah.
right. And I lost the name of the song. Oh my God.
I could probably tell you because I know all of them.
Take it from me.
I used
Don't
to
say
listen to Public
Terminator
Enemy.
X.
I used to listen to those
I
before.
love Terminator X. I love that one. Yeah. But no, mine was the one they did with Anthrax.
Oh, yeah.
I also worked at Six
Bring
Flags
the
at the time.
noise.
Bring the noise. That's the
Yeah.
one. But yeah, I worked at Six Flags, and that's when I was introduced to a little more rock music. So I listened to some Metallica, some Megadeth, some other stuff. But I remember that mix.
It was new. Nobody did that before.
No.
That was brand new.
Because, I mean, granted, we had Walk This Way.
Yeah,
that
that was
earlier, but it wasn't on the same level. I do appreciate the Run DMC, Aerosmith, but that bass, how low can you go? Death Row, what a brother know. Once again, back is the incredible, the rhyme animal, the incredible D, Public Enemy #1. 5-0 say freeze.
Yeah, that's a hype one.
That was, it's like you get me in the weight room.
Oh, yeah.
And you get ready to go out on the field. It's like, all right, we know we doing this.
Yeah.
I feel it. That's a hype one.
Yeah, that's
right.
one.
Yeah.
That's one.
Man.
Yeah. Before you rap, Will, real quick.
Before I rap. All right.
You just finished rapping. We just finished rapping.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful studio that you have.
Yeah, this is incredible.
Any
Thank you,
guest
Trent.
that you come up here, that you get coming up here in the future, this is a lovely setup. It's cozy. It's at home-ish.
Yeah.
I was greeted on the stairs on the way up by Brother Trent. This is a lovely operation you have going on. I support you 100%, even more so being involved and getting a chance to rap with you like this. It's been special.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
I appreciate that. And that's one of the things, too, with the last guest we had on. One of the things that Trent's working on is having people come in and record their stories. And so, like, if you have a family member and you just want to kind of sit down and do like an audio book and hear their story and capture it for yourself and future generations, this is what this space is. And we want more people to take advantage of that.
As you should. Absolutely.
You know, we got to keep those stories going.
Yes.
So thank you for saying that. And please, when the episode comes out, share it, tag us, tag the podcast network, because there's a whole bunch of folks doing the storytelling around here. We got something to say.
Yeah. We got something to say. You hit that old Outcast, Georgia boy. We got something to say. South got something to say.
Oh yeah. I love my Outcast. You know that. Well, thank you again for being here today.
Absolutely.
And to our listeners, thank you for listening to another episode of the At Home-ish podcast. As always, please like, share, comment, tag. I was informed by Trent today that we have had many thousands of downloads. Yay.
Yeah.
We're in like 38 states. Our goal is to get all 50 before the end of 2026. And we're in over 30 countries.
Dang.
And I mentioned even in the last episode, if you are traveling overseas, hit me up.
Yeah.
Because I want to get some at-home-ish swag on you. So if you are sitting there somewhere in Johannesburg, in Paris, in Denmark, wherever you are, wear this and have people like, oh, at-home-ish. So I'm not at home, but it's at-home-ish.
That's right.
Where I'm at.
How do we create spaces where we belong? Let me know. You also pick it up at Snohomish Apothecary. It's still over there. So thank you again for listening. Check out the Snohomish Podcast Network. Is there anything they need to check out for you guys that you got coming up?
Man, just follow me on all social media. It's Terry Hollimon at everything. So follow me and you can stay tuned in with that stuff, man. And since you international, I just want to say konnichiwa, mahalo, bonjour, and all that good stuff.
All of it. The bottle of hair grease. Torry Hollimon, a.k.a. T-Spade, a.k.a. your friendly neighborhood neighbor is what I tell folks all the time. I have an alter ego as a musician where I write and make music and perform this live music with the band out here all throughout the city. So it's really good music, good quality music. Get a chance to listen to that. But other than that, Torry Hollimon, a.k.a. T-Spade, a.k.a. your friendly neighborhood neighbor.
Love it. Tune in, listen, hit us up, and when we wise up, we rise up. Peace out.